Could even the United States' $15 million missile still fail to turn the tide of the Iran war? And does that raise serious questions about whether even the most advanced American firepower can change the battlefield outcome? Are the US most expensive weapons still not enough to reign in Iran? Especially if the conflict continues to expose the limits of military power against a determined and well-prepared adversary? In a desperate move, the US appears ready to pull out the never-used-before Dark Eagle, signaling how urgently Washington may be looking for a new edge in the face of growing pressure. The US is rushing to deploy a hypersonic missile despite failed tests, underscoring both the urgency of the situation and the risks of putting cutting-edge weapons into action before they are fully proven. US CENTCOM has reportedly requested that the long-delayed Dark Eagle hypersonic missile be sent to the Middle East, marking a significant shift in how Washington may respond to rising military pressure in the region. According to a Bloomberg report, this would be the first time the United States deploys the technology, a move that underscores both its strategic value and the caution that has surrounded the system until now. The system is designed to provide a high-speed, long-range precision strike capability, giving US forces a weapon built to reach distant targets quickly and with a far greater degree of accuracy. US officials say the hypersonic missile would be able to penetrate advanced, multi-layer defenses, which is why its deployment is being seen as such a major development. Travels at hypersonic speeds of Mach 5 or higher, making it extremely difficult for most air defense systems to detect, track, or intercept in time. Has an estimated range of over 1,725 miles, or about 2,775 kilometers, enabling long-distance strikes on distant military and strategic sites. Uses a hypersonic glide vehicle that separates from the booster and glides toward the target at high speed. Is capable of maneuvering in flight, allowing it to change course and evade fixed interception calculations. Is specifically designed to penetrate advanced air defense and missile defense networks, reducing the odds of successful interception. This comes as Iran has reportedly shifted its missile launchers out of range of the US precision strike missile, a move that could complicate Washington's plans to hit key targets quickly and effectively. However, defense experts have argued that the hypersonic missile may not be effective in the war, especially if battlefield conditions and target mobility continue to limit its real-world impact. While Dark Eagle passed several tests in 2024, it also failed to launch during other tests, raising questions about how consistently the system can perform under pressure. Dark Eagle was said to have issues with both its launcher and the missile's production quality, which added to concerns about its readiness for operational use. The Pentagon has said it won't have enough data to properly evaluate the missile's combat effectiveness until early 2027, meaning its real value may not be clear for quite some time. Jennifer Kavanagh, a senior fellow and director military analysis at Defense Priorities, said, and I quote, "This suggests that the Pentagon has lost all perspective. Iran is not an existential threat, and the United States should not be expending its highest-end missiles there no matter what. The unit cost per missile is $41 million or so. Are any targets in Iran worth this much?" Unquote. A report says Iran does not have the kind of advanced air defenses that would require the Dark Eagle to be used, which raises questions about whether the missile would actually be necessary in this conflict. The move comes despite the fact that a ceasefire between the US and Iran has been in place since April 9th, indicating that Washington is preparing for a possible return to large-scale operations. Analysts say such a deployment signals that the US is hedging for renewed conflict if diplomacy with Tehran collapses over the nuclear and maritime standoff. The Dark Eagle system itself is a high-cost, limited-quantity asset, with each hypersonic missile estimated to cost around $15 million. A full LRHW battery, including launchers and support infrastructure, could amount to roughly $2.7 billion, according to US Government Accountability Office estimates. The US has already relied on other advanced weapons such as the Jassam cruise missile during the conflict, combining new platforms with older missile types. While Washington claims to have achieved air superiority over Iran, the battlefield remains contested, with dozens of MQ-9 Reaper drones and several manned aircraft reportedly shot down. These losses highlight the persistent risks to pilots, aircraft, and forward-based assets, even under declared ceasefire. Hypersonic weapons are therefore seen as a way to strike high-value targets from much safer distances while still maintaining a high degree of effectiveness. This push for hypersonic deployment came even as President Trump, on April 29th, claimed US control of the Strait of Hormuz and portrayed Iran as increasingly cornered in the naval confrontation.
We're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And we've knocked out their Navy, we've knocked out their Air Force, we've knocked out their anti-aircraft, everything, apparatus, everything they have, their radar, they have very little left. And they have some missiles, a small percentage. They have a small percentage of missile-making facilities. We knocked out about 80% of them. The rest could come very quickly if we don't make a deal. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They know it, and just about everybody else does.
President, regarding Iran, how long are you prepared to maintain the blockade? Could that go several more months?
Well, the blockade is genius, okay? The blockade has been 100% foolproof. It shows how good our Navy is, I can tell you that. Nobody's going to play games. We have the greatest military in the world, and I built much of it during my first term, and we've been building it since. And the greatest anywhere in the world, nobody even close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela, and they have a good military in Venezuela, but it was over in one day. It was actually over in about 48 minutes. Iran, the same thing. I mean, militarily, we've wiped them out. They have no military left. It's all the Navy's at the bottom of the sea. The Air Force is never going to fly again. We've got an amazing military. Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. We give up. But their economy is really in trouble. So it's a dead economy.
Will Operation Economic Fury and the blockade get Iran to nuclear talks fast enough, or do you think another wave of strikes will be necessary?
I don't know. It depends. We have talks. We're having talks with them now, and we're not flying anymore with 18-hour flights every time we want to see a piece of paper. We're doing it telephonically, and it's very nice. I make a call, or I have my people make a call, and you know the answer. I always like face-to-face. I consider it better. But when you have to fly 18 hours every time you want to have a meeting, and you know what the meeting's all about, and you know they're going to give you a piece of paper that you don't like before you even leave, it's ridiculous. They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough. So at this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.